So in this video we will just unbox and take a first look at this SteelSeries Apex Pro Mini Wireless. Of course, this one has those nice OmniPoint adjustable switches, so you can adjust the actuation of every switch on this keyboard. And I really like the original OmniPoint. I'm still rocking my good old Apex Pro here, the full-size layout, but I feel like this is just getting in the way because of, do have the extra 10 key here. You can get it in a 10 key less version, but I feel like it's time to move on from this original design to a newer model, because I also want wireless, so I can switch between two computers, use the same keyboard and the same monitor. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I originally got this from Cooler Master. Really like the aesthetics, looks so nice in my opinion. Nice little volume rocker up here, and this is a 65% keyboard. So you do have the arrow keys and a few other function keys over here, page up, page down, and delete. But I just find this not to work all that great. When I set my computer to stand by and I wake it up again, I want to use it again, then the keyboard just doesn't want to register. I have to unplug it and plug it back in for it to actually work. If I am using this wirelessly, which it can also do, whenever the backlighting will get into standby mode, where it will turn off after a period of time, it will just not come on again. So no matter what I do, press any keys, it will not turn on. I have to manually switch it off and on again to be able to use it again. So that's kind of annoying. You just want to type something and you have to kind of use the physical switch, and so on and so on. I just ran into several issues. That leads me to the SteelSeries Apex Pro Mini Wireless. This one was on sale, so I couldn't resist. I have been eyeballing this for quite some time. This is my first 60% layout. You don't have any arrow keys. You do not have a dedicated delete key, which is definitely something I'm going to miss, as well as home and end keys. I use those as well. But all of the keys on the keyboard, or most of them rather, do have secondary function. So your A, S, D, and A keys that you of course use for gaming is also your arrow keys if you of course press that SteelSeries button or the FN key. So you do still have those functions. You just need to press a separate key to actually activate them, as well as of course all the function keys up here. So I'm very excited actually to try it out and see if I can actually live with a 60% keyboard layout. I really wanted the Apex Pro wireless 10 keyless version, but that's not available yet with my keyboard layout. I live in Scandinavia, so we have those Nordic layout and the big enter key. That's a little unfortunate, not available yet, but I will probably get that at a later date and see if I can live with this one, give it a chance. If not, I can always just return it. But man, I really like those OmniPoint switches. It's hard really to find something else when you're used to those nice, smooth switches. I'm not really a keyboard snob, not yet at least, but man, those just feel so nice. And I've tried like red linear switches like these from my Cooler Master, and I also have some Cherry MX Red and a Logitech low profile linear switch, but nothing really compares to this one, in my opinion at least. And I'm not really yet ready to go full homemade keyboard or to make my own keyboard, at least not at this point. I feel like this is probably the best you can get from a store-bought keyboard in terms of the feel of the keys. So a 60% layout, OmniPoint adjustable switches, best gaming keyboard, makers of Apex Pro, best gaming keyboard by Wired there. They always like to put those stickers on, and it's not even a sticker, it's actually printed on the box itself. A little bit of the keyboard layout here on the side, and on the right side here a little bit more information about the keyboard. Backside a little more brand in there, most winning brand in esports. Apex Pro best gaming keyboard, Apex Pro 10 keyless best gaming keyboard, but none of them is kind of referring to this specific keyboard. But I definitely do agree the Apex Pro is a fantastic keyboard. And you can see here this is the Nordic layout. So it's a QWERTY, but we have those Scandinavian lettering on there as well. And a little bit of information. You of course have adjustable actuation points from 0.4 to 3.6 millimeter. And you can adjust those in software, but you can also adjust it on the keyboard itself. 5 onboard memories. You can use it wired, 2.4 gigahertz wireless, and also Bluetooth, which is fantastic. So you can have 2 wireless connection going on at the same time, or at least switch between the 2. 30 hours of battery life. With default lighting, that's also quite a good battery life. And you can use it with PC, Mac, Xbox, and PlayStation. So you can pretty much use them with all devices. There's no Mac keys included in the box. At least I don't think so. But you can of course use it in Mac anyways. And of course it's very small and weighs just above 500 grams. And I believe it also have double shot PPT keycaps. I'm not really sure the Scandinavian version has that. OmniPoint, adjustable switches, Quantum, 2.0 wireless. I've had no problem with that. I have several SteelSeries mice. High performance battery, double shot PPT keycaps. Yeah, there it was. Double shot PPT keycaps. Built for extreme durability. This is my first experience with double shot PBT keycaps, something I wanted to try out, but it's not really been available for any of the keyboards I have spent time with as of yet. So that's pretty much it. Let's just get into this box. There's a little bit of plastic tape you kind of have to pull in each side, so let's just do that. There's a little flap there, you can pull it in like so. Let's do the same on the other side here as well. If you can just get that little tap and just pull it. I'm gonna do it slowly so I won't rip the box if I wanted to return this. And I guess you kind of have to do the same in the other end as well. So you have to pull 4 tabs total. That's quite extensive. So that should be all the tabs. Let's see what we get inside the box. So this is just a sleeve that wraps around the inner box. Open this for glory. That sounds nice. Let's do that right out of the bat. See what kind of glory is hiding in here. Let's just get rid of the keyboard. See what kind of accessories we get included. Of course, we do get a braided USB Type-C cable with a little bit of a metal design here on the plug, or a metal part of the top of the plug. So USB Type-C one end, USB-A in the other end with SteelSeries branding on here. I think this actually looks kind of nice with that two-tone color on the plugs themselves, but it's a relatively stiff cable. Would have been nice to see something more flexible. Doesn't really have to be as flexible as some of the mouse cables, but still very stiff braided cable. And I believe it's around 2 meters in length. There's also a little bit of a Velcro tie here, so you can of course wrap it up and take it with you. And we get a keycap puller and wireless dongle inside. Kind of like that they have actually written on there what you get inside. That's kind of neat. A keycap puller, I believe it's just a plastic one. Yeah. Just a cheap plastic one. I'm not going to use this because they have the tendency to scratch the keys and it's a little bit annoying to actually use to remove the keycaps. You can get some cheap metal ones that's much more convenient to use online for not really that much money. But yeah, nice it's included. So if you want to remove those keycaps, you can do so. I believe it's standard size and keycap, so you can just throw on anything you kind of have laying around on there. And then of course we have that wireless dongle as well as the adapter. So you can get all this out of the box. So that's one minor annoyance I have with SteelSeries dongles. It's not only very big, very long, there's SteelSeries branding here on the end. It is USB Type-C, which is kind of nice, but it would have been nice to see maybe a USB Type-A plug built into this adapter, so you could kind of remove the USB-A plug and underneath you will have USB Type-C, and this way it will fit into 2 sides of USB ports. I do have more USB-A ports on my computer than I have USB Type-C, but very reliable wireless connection with my mice I have from SteelSeries, so I'm pretty confident that it will work just fine. And I'm not really going to use this one, at least that's not my plan. I'm just going to use Bluetooth on my secondary computer. This is just a basic office computer that I'm going to use, so not really for gaming. And then when I'm gaming, I'm just going to plug it in, at least that's my plan for now. But you can see underneath here, there's actually Apex Pro Mini Wireless written on there. A lot of these dongles from SteelSeries, there was no indication to what mouse it actually belongs to. I have like 4 SteelSeries mice with the same dongle. Only one of them actually have the name of the mouse on there, so I've had to put a label on so I know which dongle fits what mouse, because you cannot really reprogram them. At least I have not found a way to do so. But anyways, big dongle, and you also get a little dongle adapter here, so USB Type-C one end, USB Type-C the other end, so it can of course plug in the included cable, USB Type-C, and you can use the little dongle there, or the big dongle rather, that they have included as well, and get it a little bit closer to your keyboard. Whenever you need charging, you can of course just remove this and plug it into your keyboard if you want to go wireless that way. But I personally just plan to keep it wired with my main computer and use it wirelessly with my secondary computer, so it will always be charged up. At least that's my plan for now. So that's what we get inside here. Let's just go to the bottom and see what we get there. So we get a little bit of instructions. Weirdly, I couldn't really find this online. Not really sure why SteelSeries haven't made this available on their website, but yeah, you get a little manual. You go through how to set it up and so on. And you can see all of the functions there, how to pair it up with Bluetooth, how to switch Bluetooth device. You can switch between 3 devices. You have to hold the SteelSeries key, enter, and 1, 2, or 3. You can adjust the OmniPoint actuation also just by using a hotkey, SteelSeries key, or the FN key, and I or O. And you can switch profiles using the C key. So yeah, definitely have to remember that's the SteelSeries key or the function key, Control plus Enter plus the 1, 2, or 3 number key to actually pair it up with a Bluetooth device. and then you have to hold like the function key or SteelSeries key, enter, and 1, 2, or 3 to switch between the Bluetooth devices. So there's a little more action there you have to do actually to get to switch between devices. You can also do on-the-fly macro recordings and control the background illumination. And of course, SteelSeries also have pretty good software. You can go in there and set everything up, but it doesn't appear like you need the software, at least not to set some of the basic functions up. You also have battery indicator. When the battery is below 5%, the keyboard will pulse red, and you have a charging indicator on the escape key will flash green. When it's fully charged, the escape key will turn solid green. That's kind of nice. You have a little bit of indicator there built into the keys. Would have been nice to see some kind of physical volume rocker on the keyboard itself. I really miss that, or that's something I use quite often, but you have to use the function key to get there. But anyways, you can see a lot of different languages as well included. So yeah, that's pretty easy to set up and everything that's in the box. So let's remove the box and have a closer look at the keyboard itself. Inside this little plastic bag here. And there's a little bit of protection over the keys. And right out of the bat, I must say I'm a little bit disappointed actually. Not by the design of the keyboard, but the secondary functions. Does not appear that light will be able to shine through that. The two keys here, for instance, does not light up in my language. The add key doesn't light up, and dollar and pound signs as well. That's a little unfortunate. Man, yeah, you definitely feel those PPT double shot keycaps. Feels very rugged, like to feel on those keys out of the bat, because yeah, I'm used to like standard, what is it, ABS shiny keys. I don't really mind them at all. You get a little shiny with time, but who really cares? I really don't. So yeah, definitely going to get used to that. But let's just jump straight into a little bit of a sound test. Feels very nice to type on. Let's just try and see if there's any differences between the original OmniPoint here and the OmniPoint 2.0 switches. Of course, the OmniPoint switch is only on this part of the keyboard. So it kind of only like the 65% of this keyboard is actually OmniPoint switches. The rest of them is this red linear switch. Let's do a little bit of a sound comparison and feel as well. So I think actually they feel a little smoother and a little, not firmer, but a little less wobbly than the original one. Maybe it's just me, but feels a little less wobbly. Let's actually see if there's any differences in the stem there. Comparing the two, doesn't seem to be any real physical differences between the keys, at least aesthetically. Outside here, of course, there's differences on the inside. They seem to use the same stem and of course, same coloring and everything. So it definitely does not feel bad, but I'm a little bit disappointed that we don't have those secondary functions lit up. I know that will just annoy me because I often work in lower lighting environments, both for gaming and work. And just to have those light up is so convenient, as well as like my native lettering here doesn't light up either. That will just annoy me, I think, in the long run. One thing I knew going into this is that the secondary function that's printed on the side of the key. So you can see, for instance, the arrow keys here. You can see the arrows on the side of the key, on the front of the key, and all the secondary function here on the front of the lower row keys and the keys over here as well. Those do not light up either. I kind of knew that going in, but it's pretty easy if you use the same keyboard to remember that N is volume up. Is of course you hold the FN key, that's volume up, and B is volume down. A is W and D is the arrow keys. If you hold down the SteelSeries key here, that's also pretty easy to remember because yeah, I'm used to that in gaming. And of course all the function keys is kind of reminiscent of the lettering. So F1 is the same as the 1 key, only really F11 and F12 doesn't have a number that's referenced on the top of the key for that specific function. Delete and backspace, of course the same. I'm used to that on a Mac computer or laptop, so not too inconvenient. And still we have home and end key here, so should be pretty easy to remember where those are located. I'm not really worried that it doesn't shine through light here on the front side of the keys, but man, on the keys themselves, to have some of them light through and others doesn't light through, I feel like that's a little bit of an oversight from SteelSeries. I'm not really sure if this is a cost-saving measurement, easier to print them or cheaper to just print them on there. I know it's a little bit harder to actually get light to shine through a double-shot PPT keycap. That's also probably because all of the secondary functions is on the top row of the keys, because that's also where the LED resists of the keys, so it's top lit. So to be able to get light through here, it will probably have to be on the top, and maybe, yeah, possible to get light through there. But yeah, anyways, that's just the first thing I noticed. But those double-shot PPT keys, definitely, PPT keycap rather, definitely feels very nice. Does get a little getting used to. I'm pretty used to those shiny, glossy keys, so doesn't really hold my finger as well, but that could just be a good or a bad thing, also specifically for gaming and so on. When you need to be a little bit faster, maybe it's better that it doesn't really stick as much to your fingers. But one thing I really like about 60% keyboards over like 65% keyboard is that the shift key here on the right is much smaller on the 65% that I have looked at least. So that's very annoying for me when I'm typing. I'm just so used to that big shift key going all the way out to the enter key. And of course on the 60%, that is a big shift key there on the right side. I really like having that. I use that all the time, I've noticed. And yeah, I have to kind of shift my writing technique. And for an old guy like me in the 40s, kind of a little late to actually shift my writing styles. But else, we do have an aluminum plate underneath. Feels pretty sturdy actually, but the bottom side of the keyboard is made of plastic. And on the bottom side here, we of course do have the SteelSeries branding right in the middle. We do have two different size or level of tilt and those feet here. So one small feet for you that only really needs a small tilt or raise on the back, and a bigger feet there so you can raise it up quite a bit. I really like that. Have adjustability as well as have some nice rubber feet on each corner here, so it won't really slide around on the desk. And I kind of like the aesthetics of this keyboard, just black slab. Maybe it would have been nice to see an aluminium frame as well. Doesn't really matter too much. But anyways, a little bit SteelSeries branding here on the back side. And of course on the left side here, or on the right side in this orientation. But of course when you have the keyboard on the desk, this is on the left side. It's actually where you have that switch, so you can switch between Bluetooth, wired, and 2.4 gigahertz wireless mode. And I really like the fact that the USB is on the left side, and that the plug or the hole for the plug is actually quite big. That means that you can use pretty much any USB Type-C cable I have lying around. Unlike on the Cooler Master there, you can see the USB Type-C is very recessed and the hole is just so small. So only really the cable that comes included with this keyboard is fitting amongst all of the USB Type-C cables I have. A little bit annoying. So yeah, I really like that you can use any kind of cable, and of course also use those coil cable if you're into that sort of thing. Nothing really on the left side. It would be nice to see some kind of volume rocker or whatever to just turn up or down the volume using a dedicated key. Nothing here on the front side and nothing on the right side of the as well. So let's just try and plug it into my computer. Of course, using the supplied USB Type-C cable. Pretty easy to do. And let me just turn off the light here so we can check out the default backlighting. So you can see the escape key is flashing whenever it is charging, which can be a little bit annoying. But compared to like the Cooler Master, where every key on the board lights or flashes red 5 times every minute as long as it's charging, that's very, very annoying. The escape key flashing, that I can live with, or at least I believe so. And this is of course the default lighting, not the brightest out there, and like I said, not all of those functions are lighting through, or secondary functions of those keys. A little uneven example here on the enter key. It's not the most even lighting, but I believe that's probably have more to do with the fact that this is double-shot PPT. Kind of hard to make proper even lighting with those kind of keys. But you do also, of course, has a lot of shine through or shine around the keycaps from that lighting. I kind of like that aesthetics. Looks very nice to me, and it looks a lot less cluttered like the Cooler Master here. Because on this keyboard, all the secondary functions do also lit up, which I kind of like, but it is also a little cluttered when you look at it from a certain angle. You just see all those functions light up on the keyboard. This one, you only really see the lettering and the numbers light up, not the secondary functions. So you kind of have to remember that N and B, volume up and down. Of course, if you want to change the Bluetooth device, you have to press the function keys, the enter and the 1, to actually get into Bluetooth devices. But yeah, right off the bat, I really like this lighting. Not super bright, but it looks very stylish on my desk. Just don't like that those secondary functions doesn't light up. A little bit annoying. So yeah, right out the bat, I'm looking kind of forward to try a 60% layout, see how far that will take me. So my first impressions, I'm a little bit torn actually. I'm not totally in love with it. Aesthetically, I kind of like it. I like that understated black design. That's of course for me personally, my personal preference, but I have to more than like it for me to actually justify keeping it. But still, it is a relatively expensive keyboard. I could get 2 of these from Cooler Master for the same price of this one here on sale. Not on sale, I could like buy 3 of these keyboards, so else I would not have gotten it, even though I have kind of looked at it for quite some time. So yeah, I really have to try the 60% layout. If I end up not minding it too much, I will probably end up keeping this at least until the 10 keyless version will get available. And if I don't run into any other issues like with my other keyboard, if it like don't want to wake up when I'm actually using it to type and so on. All those small quirks that you find out using the keyboard in your daily routine. And also if I can get used to use the like home and end keys under a secondary function. I'm really curious to try that out because I use that a lot when I am video editing, as well as the arrow keys. If you just want to skip a frame forward and back and so on, it is much easier to use the arrow keys. But this has just been an unboxing and first look at this Apex Pro Mini Wireless. I'll probably end up making a follow-up video sometime in the future, just sharing my opinions using this keyboard and if I actually find any quirks or issues using it in my daily routine. But first impressions, I'm not really totally sold on it. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to keep it actually, but I am going to use it as my primary keyboard for at least 14 days before I will actually make up my mind. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope to see you again in the future one. Until then, take care.